We got a G&L guitar from musician's friend. Oh, got one of the cameras cutting my head off. Let's see what's in the box, and we'll do a quick setup on it. And of course there's just a box inside the box. Our do-it-yourself setup kit. There she is. Which camera here? Yeah, let's put her on the bench and see what she needs right out of the box. First thing we need to do is tune the guitar. I use Pro Guitar Tuner. Maybe the first thing we need to do is get some of this plastic. Looks like they got half the plastic off already. That's odd. They usually put 2 layers on these pick guards, and that's what this one seems to have. This is just the top layer here I'll take off. We'll get that second layer later. E sharp. Check out the electronics. Alright, we've got it tuned. First thing I'm going to do now, or next thing I'm going to do, is check the neck relief. And I'll put a capo on the first fret. I'm going to manually fret it at the highest fret up at the body. And I'm going to check the 8th fret. And my gauge shows 20 thousandths, which is too much relief. I want to verify that with a string gauge. This is a 15,000 string, and if it passes through easily, then I know I have too much relief, and I have too much relief. So let's take a 4mm Allen. That one won't work. Then we want to tighten the truss rod. Give me my Allen wrench back. Move that D string out of the way. And on new guitars, they don't usually set them up at all. That goes for many of the sellers who claim they set up before they ship. So you start off with a truss rod that's very loose. You don't feel any tension at all sometimes, or oftentimes. And there's no sense in measuring the change in relief if I'm not getting any tension yet. We need a little more tension here. You want to make sure that Allen wrench is seated all the way in, because you don't want any slippage. That causes wear on your hex head. Let's put these strings back in place. All right, now let's go for string height. And on Telecasters and Strats, I check at the 17th fret. On most others, I'll check at the 12th. And I'm seeing a little over 70 thousandths of an inch on both high E and low E. And that is too high. So we're going to come down on that. I'm going to again fret at the highest fret here, and I'm going to check my nut slots. And I'll check at the first fret, and I'm seeing 20 thousandths, 20, maybe under a little, yeah, a little under, more under, yeah, probably 18 thousandths. I wouldn't mind having some of those a little lower so we get better intonation. Oh. So we'll pull out our nut files, if I remember where they are. I just moved them recently, and I always look in the old place first still. And I'm sure these are 9s because that's what we usually put on Fenderish things. But I'm going to use a 10 thousandths nut file. And I'm going to angle it down toward where the string meets the string guide. And we'll check it again. Yeah, that's better. Probably about 14 thousandths. Okay, we're good. Remind me next time I keep it in the next to bottom drawer. Now let's tackle these string heights. And it looks like, well, there's two choices, especially with Fenderish things. Vintage and some other American vendors take the 50 thousandths. So I'm going to measure at the 17th fret. I'm sitting a little proud of 70 thousandths of an inch here. I'm going to bring it down just a few thousandths. Now, the inside set screw and low E saddle wasn't even touching. It was really, really loose. And it's important to get equal tension on both the screws. If you don't get equal tension, they'll be loose and they'll vibrate and change. And that's not good. You don't want your setup changing. So you want to make sure you have equal tension on both set screws. We're just a little high here too. A tad over 70. We want to be more like 65 thousandths. You notice I don't use fractions of an inch. I use the decimal. It's much more, you can be more precise. And you might see some people try to angle their saddles, thinking they need to have the saddle match the radius that way. No, you want the seat in the saddle. You want both legs of the saddle equal heights. You're following the radius by setting the string height, not by tilting the saddles. Yeah, we're pretty high here on G. There we go. B's looking a little better, still a little high. They tend to make the action high on guitars because any kind of buzz is a sales killer. And people don't notice high action until they get home and play a bit and their fingers hurt. But they'll hear that buzz right off. And I'm going to set high E just below 60 thousandths. And I got low E just above 65. And then I kind of have all the strings in between just kind of gradually working their way toward the end string height. Okay, now we're going to look at pickup pole heights. We see, I think we're just a little too close here. We want between 3 and 4 32nds of an inch. I'll go with 30 seconds here because we don't have to be that accurate at all. But I'm sitting on 0. I have no clearance at all here on high E. Well, okay, maybe a few thousandths. No bueno. Yeah. We're okay on the low side. Definitely tightening is pulling it up, but loosening isn't bringing it down. So we have a problem there. Yeah, we'll have to pull those out. You would have buzzing against the pickup pole on that, and we can't, it doesn't want to go down, so we're going to have to operate. Shame to have to cut new strings off, but we'll put some better strings on anyway, and I'm not going to mess with trying to reinstall curled up strings. Before you throw your strings away, always take a few for the kind of measurements you need. Like we use the 15 thousandths to check our relief as kind of like a no-go gauge. These are cheap soft metal screws, I'll tell you. I sometimes see better screws on Squires. Not to knock Squires. But they do have to keep the price down. Alright, let's see what's going on here. We've got springs. We shouldn't have any problem. But when we loosen the screw head's coming up. So that means the hole's too tight for the screw. I guess. It's working now. And the hole's deep enough. Wasn't close to the edge. I don't know what it could have been binding on. It just didn't want to let me have a quick, easy video, that's all. It's not rising in the hole now. Everything's fine. Was it binding back here? Or was the, maybe it's the pickup that was binding against the edge of the opening here. That looks like what it was. That's why it wouldn't go down. Metal plate here. I got my choice. I could route out the body a little more or file the edge of the metal plate. I don't want to do either one. Yeah, it doesn't want to go in there. Well, I think we cut the cussing part out, and the part where I gouged out an area to widen the cavity a little with my Dremel tool. I didn't want to pull the router out. This way I don't risk chipping the finish. And now our pickup adjust and goes up and down just fine. And as you saw, this is just a random G&L guitar right out of the box. I didn't purposely find one that has problems, but any brand, I don't want to pick on G&L. Any new guitar you get, I'm going to be able to find some problems, just usually not this drastic. Usually we don't have to cut into the guitar to operate.